So I took part in the Punisher's Rampage Rally animation challenge. And in this challenge, I made this animation right here. But the thing is that while I had an idea of what I wanted to make, I was kind of not able to execute it fully. What I have made is kind of 75% of what I had in mind. And so here are the things that I wanted to give you about render challenges like these ones and what you should keep in mind given the time that is there. So during this animation challenge, my experience was kind of positive in the beginning. For the 2 weeks, I had a plan that for the first week I will model the stuff that I need, and for the second week I will focus completely on animation. And mind you, I did not have my college at that time, and so I had all the time in the world to actually do my animation, and I was putting in the effort. I was making every single move in the animation, try to make it look the best that it can be. But here's the thing. After 2 weeks of effort, after 2 weeks of modeling my character, my bike, and my robots, and using all of them, by the way, I did not model the mechs, but I did animate them and rig them. After doing all of this, the worst thing that could have happened. My SSD drive got corrupted, and I lost all of the progress. And mind you, the first full week was spent on modeling. So I was trying to keep this animation as original as possible. I kind of lost hope because the last time I actually joined Chasm's Call, which was by the way my first ever render challenge by Clint. And here's the thing, in case of Chasm's Call, I actually did not have enough time. I was actually on a trip, so I started my animations 2 weeks later. And so I had to rush everything, and Chasm's Call was kind of fun because I was still learning, but at the same time I did want to do more. But here I had an advantage. Here I had the full month off and I could have made something excellent, and I still made something mediocre. But here's the thing, if only I did not lose that animation that I made, I would have been so much further ahead. But when I lost 2 weeks worth of progress, I kind of gave hope completely. I did not want to continue. And so I did what most people would do. I went to the stream of Clint and watched him reviewing other people. And I saw this clip.
Well, no, it's fine. You're only a week in. It's crazy that you've done this in a week. Like,
you really? Yeah. Probably not.
Okay.
It's a 970, so the GPU is bad, so probably I'm assuming not. And it's like a Ryzen 5.
And this clip blew my mind because this animation was made in 1 week, and this guy apparently made this on a 970. Mind you, that's a graphic card from ages ago. A 970. Like, I literally worked hard to save up money to get this 3090, and now I'm gonna quit on my animation because I don't have enough time. So yeah, this guy who literally made this animation, yes, I'm taking his word for it because I don't know if he was actually making the animation on 970, but the guy ultimately did make an animation that was absolutely amazing for 1 week. And so I got motivated again. I was like, I'm not going to give up on this animation. So I started again. I modeled my bike, I modeled my character, I tried to animate the jump as fast as good as possible. I also modeled my mechs, and then I brought them all to Unreal Engine. And then the second phase of my struggle started. The next problem that I encountered was that within Unreal Engine, you get to choose a lot of versions. Now with this specific Punisher's challenge, the template that they gave you was the template for at least Unreal Engine 5.2 and higher. So I was not going to be able to use Unreal Engine 5.1. Mind you, Unreal Engine 5.1 is probably the best Unreal Engine version if you really want to continue making consistent animation, because 5.1 is still the most kind of bug and error free. So with 5.2, my animated character that I made was not going to work anymore. I had to jump ship to a later version, and so I completely switched the versions to 5.6, and that is where my other problem comes in. So for my animation, I was actually going to use the city sample as a base of the city, and then I was going to kit bash assets on it and model some hard surface assets in order to make that city look sci-fi and less asset-like. And I kind of was able to achieve that. But yeah, when I did make the animation and the city and kit bashing everything within Unreal Engine 5.6, what I did not realize was that Unreal Engine 5.6 currently does not support city sample. And so what I was making was useless. But I did not realize until like even 1 week later from that point. So yeah, I kind of messed up. I made a version of animation that was not going to be supported by Unreal Engine 5.6 completely. And so I had to go back and remove a lot of things from the city sample itself. And that was kind of a headache because I had this whole idea of how I want to make my city look good. And now it's gonna all of a sudden change because of my stupidity. But yeah, I still pushed through. Then I downloaded the realistic VFX asset pack and I used that to add VFX to my bike. Then I textured my character, I animated his shield, added that to my character. Then I added bullets and made a particle system for the bullets separately. Then for the rain, I actually added rain, the rain curtains and the rain splashes. Now all of this was actually done by Easy Rain, and this was my first ever experience using Easy Rain. And I will say, for the price that Easy Rain is for, I would say is a no-brainer. And it makes adding rain to your scenery, especially if you are going for that photorealistic rain, it makes that a breeze. So yeah, I composited all of my elements, I started making banners, I started making neon elements, and then I finally completed my animation literally 10 hours before the submission time, and I ran into yet another problem. So apparently in my animation file, there were certain textures that were not supported by Unreal Engine 5.6 specifically, because I tried to migrate those back to Unreal Engine 5.2 and they were kind of working. But the thing is that Unreal Engine 5.2 was kind of limited in terms of what I wanted to do, especially with the rain effect, because I really wanted to add the rain and Easy Rain is kind of only supported on 5.3. So I messed up. I did not have enough time to render out the animation in Path Tracer, which I really wanted to. So I went with Lumen. In the Lumen, I used all the console variables that I knew of. I used all the cinematic console variables. I actually stole some of the console variables from the Unreal Tournament movie that was made for Amazon Prime. And so yeah, after that, this was my product. And so ultimately the question comes, is this really a good animation? And I would say, yeah, it is. It's not bad. I mean, by any means, what I had in mind was obviously gonna be better, like at least 30 times or maybe even 25 times better. But the thing is that I made mistakes. I messed up twice. I did not keep a backup for my animation. I lost 2 weeks of progress and that knocked me back hard. And so yeah, I was feeling that hit by the end of this animation challenge. And there are still some problems with the animation itself, but I was still able to make the animation basically. In the animation, the guy jumps off, the left drone actually shoots a rocket on the left mech, and the right drone actually fires back at the right mech, and then they come back and attach to the bike and the biker goes on his way. And this is basically my animation. And so yeah, I'm kind of satisfied with my animation, but at the same time I'm kind of not satisfied because, to be honest, I made stupid mistakes that I could have avoided, like not using the latest version of Unreal Engine, but also not using too old of an Unreal Engine version. But the point I wanted to make this video was to give you an idea of how you should approach these render challenges. And this is not going to be the last challenge I join in, because I still learned a lot from this and I still had a lot of fun. The thing is, while making these render challenges, I would recommend you focus more on render quality, storytelling, and the perspective of the animation. What I mean by the perspective is that try to keep it simple. Don't go over ambitious with your idea like me, even if you have time. Like, think about it this way. Yes, you have time. Yes, you have a ambitious idea that you can execute within that time. But if you simplify your idea might shine more. And so a lot of times when you see these top 100 montages, a lot of those ideas are extremely simple. Ultimately, I think you should join these challenges with the mindset that you don't want to make stupid mistakes like me, and you also want to have fun with them. Because trust me when I say this, I kind of had a lot of headache more than I was having fun with this animation challenge, because my file of animation got lost and everything else that I said in the video. So yeah, that was my experience with the Rampage Rally animation. If you guys made your own animations, feel free to leave a link down in the comments for other people to see. And I will see you on the next one.